Well, welcome everyone to another Facebook Live event with the lovely Peta Gillian from Strong Healthy Women. And it's lovely to have you join us, Peter, and always have something important to share about our health and well-being. So today we're going to continue on with what we were talking about with the 5 essential steps to getting started that'll get you active and healthy. And you might just do a little recap on step 1, which we talked about last time. So over to you with the 5 steps. Step 1.
Okay, well, thanks for having me, Sue. Really, really appreciate it. I always enjoy our chats that we have, and I always like interacting like this because we actually we get to learn from one another as we're going along as well too. So that's really lovely. We certainly do. So last week we talked about going through that I'm ready for change step. So, and one of the things that can happen with change is you can certainly just go, okay, well, it's too hard to change, and you can just stay as you are. But when you are really, really motivated, what happens is you move into that next step of taking action. And so rather than racing off and jumping in boots and all, it's best to take that time to really, really think about these 5 essential steps. And the reason that we go through these steps is because what happens is it gets you started, but it keeps you motivated and it keeps you on track. So what can happen is when we start a new fitness routine or a health routine, we can go in boots and all, and then we can lose the plot somewhere along the line. So life gets in the road. So when you take that opportunity to think about it and really do a little bit of planning, it can make life a lot easier for you. And so step 1 we talked about in the last session, and that was why. So why is this important to you? And so what happened was I gave everybody a little challenge or a little action to do. And that action was to write down, so if this is the first time you're chiming in, what I want you to do is write down 10 reasons today why your health, fitness, and happiness is important to you. So write that down, 10 reasons, but I want you to do that for 5 days. So I want you to go through the process for 5 entire days. So what happens at the end of that is that you have then 50 reasons why your health, your well-being is important to you. And so you can actually look at that list of 50 reasons why then, and you can start to really find that emotional connection to it. So that real heart of heart link to it. And so I wanted to just firstly just talk about a story about myself. And so growing up, I lived with my mother and at my grandparents' house. And so she went off to work every day and I spent a lot of time with my grandparents. And so from this early age, I got to experience what it was like to be overweight and obese and to see the struggles of it. And what happened with my grandmother is she had a lot of preventable health diseases, and particularly diabetes was one of those. And she ended up losing her leg as a result of that and passed away. And I witnessed all this as a young child, and I had this really, really strong connection with her. But the thing that happened with that is that my mum, even though she's experienced that, is now in stage 3 kidney failure, which is a direct result of diabetes, high blood pressure, all of these preventable diseases. So for my life, I have witnessed that impact. And I'm not saying that I'm not going to get it, but I've managed to hold it off a lot longer, at least 20 years longer than when they were first diagnosed. And that is probably because of a lifestyle change that I made. And that was all subconsciously in the beginning, but it's more conscious now. And so when I had a health scare then in my 40s, that trigger went on and I went, oh, okay, if I don't do something now, I could end up in that same boat. And I see the struggles that they go through, like Mum is going through now, and I don't want those struggles in my life. And so when you can really find that real emotional connection to it, it really helps it stay front and center for you. Now, what happens is life is going to happen. It will happen to all of us. So we are going to get those moments where we're going to fall off the wagon as such. So, we might exercise every day and then all of a sudden something happens and we can't exercise. But that thing is going to be sitting there. That why is going to be sitting there in your head, and it's going to give you that opportunity to flip the switch a little bit and go, okay, I need to do something about it. So Paul was in hospital some years back, and, I was seeing him every single day, and it was in Brisbane. And so my whole routine was out of kilter. And what happened was all of a sudden it was there in the back of my head, and I went, I need to park further away. I need to walk the stairs instead of taking the elevator. I need to take my lunch with me. So all of those things. And so when you've identified that why, you can really just come back to it all the time. All right, so that's step one.
Yeah, and I was just going to say the planning as well, and you can fit it into your day. Like you just sort of thought outside the box a little bit and thought, okay, well, I can't do my regular workout or exercise because I'm just not, I've just got so much on, but I can do these little things like park further away, take the stairs, take your lunch, so that you're still getting those healthy benefits there and without, letting them go. So I think that's a good point too.
Yeah. And so that then leads us on to action number 2, or step number 2 in the process. So step number 2 is making that decision. So the decision is what is going to be right for you.
Yeah.
So when you look back at that list of why this is important to you, that's sort of like going to help you identify the areas of fitness and health that you really want to focus on. And so, as an example, if you are someone who wants to go hiking and you want the fitness to go hiking, but the decision that you make is to go and do yoga one day a week, then it's not going to give you the cardiovascular strength that you need. It's not going to give you the strength that you need. You will get the flexibility, but you won't get those other 2 components. So therefore, if you were going on this massive, great big hike, then you're going to struggle with it and you're not going to enjoy it. And so it's really important to identify what is it that I love and enjoy that I want to keep doing as far as being active is concerned, and then make the decision about the fitness routine that I'm going to take on. How is that going to help me? So Leslie's a good example of that as well too. She's never been an exerciser in her life, and what happened was all of a sudden she identified that she likes kayaking. That's the thing that she's gone, I want to keep doing this. I love it. But what she found out was she didn't have the strength, she didn't have the flexibility. And so she needed to find an exercise routine that was going to help her get those 2 things so she can do the thing that she loves and enjoys. So when you go through this decision-making process, what you want to do is think about, well, what is it that I want it to do for me? And then the next part of it is, will it be something that I do online? Is it something that I'll do in a group? Is it something that I'll be motivated to do by myself? Is it something that I need to lose weight for? So, and if I want to lose weight, do I want to go to two different places, or can I find a place that's going to be able to help me lose the weight, but also get fit and active at the same time? So there's a lot of variables in just thinking about that decision that's going to be right for you. You're going to say something next to?
Well, I was just going to say, yeah, there's a lot that you have to take into account. And I think you have to get to a point where, you know, you've been thinking about it and you keep procrastinating. And if you just go through what's going to be the 5 steps, I think that helps you, because you can identify, firstly, why you want to be healthy and active and the benefits of that. And then that helps you to think about, well, okay, what do I enjoy? Because a lot of people will say, oh, well, no, I don't like doing that, or I'm not a runner, or I'm not this, or I'm not that. But how many activities are there out there that you can do? And then again, it's coming back to being open and having the ability to educate yourself on your own health and well-being as well. You may need to reach out to a professional, someone like yourself, to say, well, okay, Peter, I want to do the Camino Trail over in Spain, but I've done no walking, and I haven't done any exercise for 6 months, but I want to do that in 3 months' time. Once you stop laughing about that, you will help me come up with something that is going to work for me, that I'm going to be able to achieve that end goal. And so you're right, you have to look at exactly, how you're going to go about it and make the decision from there. And sometimes you just need that bit of professional help, I think.
Yeah, totally. I mean, for me, there are 2 things that I really love and enjoy. And that is skiing, and that's a little bit hard here in Queensland because we don't have ski fields.
No.
And the other thing is hiking. But with skiing, I really have to think about like the lateral movements that I make. I've got to be able to go from side to side as you're coming down the mountain. You've got to have that cardiovascular strength. You've also got to have that physical strength as well too, because you're carting around ski boots and skis and all sorts of things as well. And you need that flexibility in, if you take a tumble, you've got to be able to get yourself back up, get yourself out of your boots, and get back onto the skis as well too. So I would say, though, if there is something that isn't springing to mind right now and you're thinking, well, there's nothing there that I really, really want to do from an activity perspective, think about it from a daily life perspective.
Yes.
So if you have grandchildren, do you want to be the grandmother who gets up and down off the ground and plays with those kids? Or do you want to be the one who can't get up and down off the floor? Do you want to be the grandmother who gets on the trampoline and climbs the trees and does all the different activities with the grandchildren? Or do you want to be that woman who is out playing golf at 90 years old, or playing tennis, or playing bowls, and just the simple everyday things like picking up the grocery bags, picking up the laundry basket? All of those things require strength and flexibility. So if there is nothing that you go, this is my burning desire to do, then you come back to those daily activities. And really, they all need strength and flexibility, because as women, we are losing our flexibility from puberty, and we are losing our strength, our muscle strength, from the age of 30 onwards. So by the time we get to 90, we've lost 50% of our muscle strength if we don't replace it. So it's important that we do those 2 things. And I know women love to walk, don't they?
Yeah. And you can do that. And I think the point you made about coming back to the daily tasks, we take a lot of things for granted. At the moment, you might feel, well, I'm not doing any exercise, but I can still do the shopping and this, that, and the other. But the longer you leave it to start, becoming stronger, you'll find that there'll come a day where you say, well, actually, I can't carry those groceries. I can't reach up to get that glass out of the cupboard. I can't do this. I can't do that. So, as you say, you don't have to be training for a marathon.
No.
It's just to be training for to be able to cope with life. So that's important as well. But I notice in some of your notes that you've got that how to make the decision that's right for you saves you time and money.
Oh, yeah, totally. And I've heard this story like so many times. And in this guide that you're looking at, which the ladies can download, so Julie, I tell the story of Julie, and realistically, Julie's probably spent somewhere between 6 to 12 months in finding the right program for herself. And she tried many programs during the course of that 6 to 12 months. She even tried a hypnotist at one point. She's been to a nutritionist. She went to a boot camp, and she basically says, you name it, I tried it. And you hear this so often where women and men, they go in, they join a gym, and they go in guns a-blazing, and then what happens is life gets in the road, and then all of a sudden they're not going anymore. So they're paying for this gym membership and they're just not going. They're not using it as well too. So, and that's why it's important to actually make the decision of what's going to be right for you. So, finding a fitness routine, like for our program, Fit Flex, it's 3 days a week. It's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Does that mean that should be the only thing you do? No, it shouldn't. But the other days, get out and do the things that warm your heart. So, you might love yoga in between, and you might like just going for walks. So, but the Fit Flex program is all about fitness, strength, and flexibility. And it's specifically designed for women who are over the age of 50. And so, in saying that, if you're someone who only wants to give it 3 days a week, you're going to get results, but you're finding a program that does it 3 days a week. So you're not paying for this membership that gives you all of these things that you're not going to use.
That's right. And also, especially these days, I think with time, even if people are retired, they're still busy. But I think that COVID has sort of brought to the fore that we've all started to do maybe virtual workouts, and for example, or other learning online, whatever. But that just saves you so much time, because you just get up and you turn on the computer and log in, and you're there. You're not driving somewhere. You're not having to, you're saving so much time. So finding something like what you're offering, for example, is perfect, because for me, I get it over and done with 3 mornings a week. I just get up and I do it, and I've done that part of the a program that we need, the strength and flexibility and a bit of cardio there. And then on the other days, you can do what you like, as you say, as long as you're active. So it does save you the time as well. And also I think the point of not having to go, to a Pilates class here and then a gym there and then something else to make sure you get it all, you can just do it all together. So I think that's, and
the other thing is too, like, you might very well have injuries as well too. And so, having a personal trainer in that type of environment is ideal, because what happens is they can then say, okay, with that, you're not going to do this exercise, you're going to do this exercise instead. So you've got that personalized attention, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're paying for that personalized service either as well, which, is again, saving you some money.
Yeah, because money is an issue with everybody. It always is, and I think that you do have to get the best value for money. But also, as you say, with making the decision on what you're going to do and taking those steps to get active, you also say that the right decision keeps you motivated. So would you like to talk a little bit about that? to that point?
Yeah, look, there's nothing worse than going. So if, for example, you are going to a physical place, there's nothing worse than walking in there and the equipment's all tattered and torn, or it's dirty when you go to the bathrooms, all those types of things. It's really not conducive. You walk in and it just drains your energy, and you just don't want to be there. And so that can have an impact. And that's part of the decision making as well too. So when you're going through the process, do your online searches. So then when you're talking to, those people on the phone, how are they greeting you? Are you feeling comfortable in the process? Do you feel like they're listening to you, or are they just talking at you as well too? So you really want to have that level of comfort. And when you find that right place, you'll feel more energized. If it's something that makes you feel depleted, then it's not the right place for you. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. And even just having like an exercise buddy or a walking buddy, when you're first starting out, I think if you can have someone holding your hand more or less to help you keep on track, because it is hard to get started. It's hard to make that first move. You know why you've got to do it, but you've identified that, but then it's taking that step to making it happen. And as you say, just having a think about what you're going to do, making that decision there. So, it might be that you say to a friend, well, come on, let's do this together. I can't do it on my own, or reach out to a professional. But, I think that's important. The decision-making process seems to be a very vital step, which not many of us would really think about, I don't think.
No, we don't. The other thing is, what was really important for me when I first started out was I had friends that were like the same age as me. And so I asked them what they were doing and why they were doing those particular types of programs. And it doesn't necessarily mean that those programs that they're doing will be right for you, but it gives you something more to think about when you are making that decision as well too. So, and I know for a lot of our ladies, we get our ladies talking to other women, and that's how they come to us in the first place. It's because, okay, so I know so-and-so, and I know I've seen what's happened to her, and I've seen how much more agile she is. Then that's going to be the place that I want to go to. I can see how she feels happy and comfortable in the environment as well too.
Yeah, no, that's right. It's always good to, talk to other people and get their opinion too of what they're doing, although that doesn't mean that you are going to actually like what they do. As you say, you've got to come find something that you enjoy for you to be able to stick to it. But I think what we've talked about today, I actually hadn't really ever given the decision-making part much thought, to be honest. And it just, to me, after talking to you today, it just seems to be key to getting going, really.
Oh, yeah, these first two steps, the why and the decision-making process, they are really, really important steps. If you get those right, then the rest of it's going to work for you.
Yeah.
If you don't spend the time on that, then what happens is, as you said, we waste time on it. We waste money on it as well too, because we sign up for things that we don't necessarily go ahead and do.
What do you think about a kickstart sort of program, or someone's thinking, I've got to do something, I really don't know where to start. I'll do this 7-day challenge, or I'll do this kickstart program, or what do you think about those? Because I know you offer some, but I just like to get your thoughts on that route.
I really personally love those challenge type environments, because what happens is it's short enough for you to get a taste of how that business operates as well. It also is short enough for you to be able to commit to, but it's long enough for you to experience it and get results from it as well too. So like we have one coming up on the 17th of August, and it's a 5-day Metabolic Jump Start challenge, and it's totally free, which gives ladies the opportunity to be able to go, okay, I've seen Peta here talking to Sue. Is it really the right style of program for me? You know, is the knowledge that she has, is that exactly what I'm looking for? How she approaches things, is that what I'm looking for? Or do I need somebody who is, you know, that little bit more scaled back? Or do I need someone who's like a cheerleader and, you know, yahoo, all over the place? So, you know, finding that right person, that right business for you is so, so important. But yes, I love challenges. And I never really did a challenge until I think I was in my 40s. And it was a 30-day challenge that I started. And I got about 5 days into it and I've just gone, oh my goodness, this is just so hard. Because there was a lot of eating associated with it, you know, changes. And I remember I didn't want to give up because it was like, okay, it's 30 days, like surely I can get through this. And here's something that we don't do. And something that I do. I ask questions. So I went in with my little book that they'd given us and I said, okay, so here's what you're saying I should have for breakfast. Now, here's what I eat for breakfast. Like, these things are worlds apart. This is just so hard for me. Is there anything you can do to help me? And quite frankly, she said, of course we can. You know, so she scribbled a few things down. I mean, I finished the 30 days. And at the end of the 30 days, like, I had lost like 4 kilos, I think it was. And, you know, 2% body fat or something like that. So, and it was just because I did take that time to ask the question, even though I was getting frustrated with it. And so my advice would be, if you are going to do a challenge and you think, oh, this is just too hard, ask the question.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's ask a question for everything, because I was just going to recap, you know, like, so today we've sort of recapped on the first step, which was why, and we write down our 10 reasons why every day and end up with 50 reasons why, which is probably a good title for a movie or something. But yeah, so you get your 50 reasons, and if that's not enough to get you started, I don't know what is. But then we move on to making the decision, and really what I've got out of that is, and I've said it a couple of times now, that it's one of the most important steps to really think about everything before you actually make that final decision. Do your homework, ask your questions, think about what's going to be right for you, reach out to a professional and and just educate yourself on exactly what path you're going to follow. Because I think if you make that right decision, you will feel a little bit sort of excited and motivated.
Totally.
And also maybe starting with a challenge that isn't too long. But the only negative side of challenge, and we were talking about this in Sunday Reflections with you on Sunday, one of the you know, we do challenges, and then after the 5 or the 7 or the 30 days or whatever, we go, okay, we finished that, now we'll go back to our old habits. And so we should be looking at the challenge as a starting point, perhaps, to just kickstart things. And then from there, that gives you a little bit of a foundation to move forward and build on that, and, you know, in your life and making the changes, rather than just saying, well, I've done that, I've ticked it off, and now I'll go back to where I was. So, so, you know, I think we've really covered a lot around decision, which I was thinking, oh, this will only take 5 minutes.
No.
So there's a lot more to it.
It's like any decision we make in life, really.
Yeah.
We weigh up the pros and cons of it. And I just wanted to add, there were three words that I wanted to add there. When you are looking to start and you're looking for a place to go to, whether that's a personal trainer, whether that's online, group training, gym, it comes down to whether you know that person, so you feel like you have a connection with that person, whether you like them, whether you think, because quite frankly, if you don't really like them, they're probably not going to be the person for you. And then whether you trust them or not. And that comes down to that's really, really important, because if you have that level of wariness, it's not the right place for you as well.
No, because I mean, there's a safety aspect as well.
Totally.
If you don't trust them to have your best interests at heart, if you don't trust them that they're going to look after you when working out, especially if you haven't done it before, you're more prone to risk an injury, then you're going to have issues. But I just also wanted to say, you mentioned about, we make important decisions in our life, and we usually, if we're going to buy a house or a car, we'll, really take our time making the right decision, we hope. But sometimes for ourselves, we don't give ourselves the same courtesy or attention that we should. And living a healthy and active life is not just something that you need to do, you should do. You're doing it for yourself because there's so many benefits to it. And so this is a very important decision to make. And not just say, well, I'm going to start exercising, or I'm just going to start walking, or I've got to get fit, or whatever. We need to look at it because our body and our mind and our soul is very precious, and we need to make the right decision for it. So you made a good point there. Yeah.
And the thing about it, Sue, is that we really don't put ourselves first. And it's one of the things about women that we really have a long way to go in learning that we are important in our lives and we should be first and foremost, but we always put everybody else around us first. And so when it comes, and look, I see it day in, day out, where women say, oh, I don't have the time, or, I'll do it later, or I'm busy doing something else. And all we're doing there is saying, I'm not important.
Yeah.
And you are important. You are really, really important.
And I mean, being active and healthy, is a good foundation, because then you can give to other people a lot more.
That's right.
Rather than being drained. So, today we've really covered the first two steps again, which is great. And in step 3, we're going to be looking at how to start. So that's going to be good. But before we go, I'll just tell you, everyone, that we'll put in the links, the handbook, the workbook that you've got on this 5 essential steps. We'll put the link to that in, and also I'll put the link to that metabolic kickstart, which is on the 17th of August, and I'll also put the link into the Strong Healthy Women to your Facebook group as well, so that people can come over and see what we're doing over there in Strong Healthy Women as well. But it's been lovely as always to chat to you, and I'm looking forward to moving on to step 3. And if anyone's got any questions, or if they'd like to know more, I'll feel free to send them through, and I can put them to Peter, and we can get more of a conversation going there. But other than that, let's work on our why. Let's think about our decisions that we're going to make, and then in step 3, we're going to start.
Excellent. Looking forward to it.
Okay. Well, thanks very much for that, Peter, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Thanks, Sue.
Okay.
Thanks for having us. Bye, ladies. Bye.
Bye, ladies. Bye.